Well, I like the music, Rhino.
This isn't technically attached to any movie that came out this weekend, but there is a remake to this that's attached to a movie that Tanya might have just been talking about. I just didn't feel like going through that remake to edit it.
Gotcha. Well, welcome back to Good Things. It is Friday, which means we've got Tanya here to talk movies. So has it been an exciting week in the movie world, Tanya?
Yeah, well, last week we knew that the new horror film of the week, Abigail, was being released. And so the big question was who would come out on top of the box office. And I believe for last weekend alone, Civil War won again.
Wow.
But when you add the rest of this week, like going into today, Abigail has kind of inched out Godzilla, Kong, and Civil War to come out on top. But this weekend we have a new challenger called Challengers. And this is the new movie that I don't know how to describe it. It's got a little bit of romance, a smidge of comedy, lots of drama. You got Zendaya.
It's Wimbledon with an extra guy.
Yeah, exactly. It's a love triangle, but a very confusing one. And it's rated R for a very good reason.
But it should be rated X.
Yeah. And honestly, this movie was about 20 minutes too long. And if they would have cut the scene that I think most of you listening probably have an inkling of what I'm talking about because you see it in the preview. It's a scene with Zendaya and the two guys. And it gets a little out there for me. And I kind of wish they would have just not done that. But I think the reason they did is because they had to set up the influence this girl has on these two guys who both are in love with her. And it's a love triangle that starts from the time they're teenagers all the way. We fast forward to current, or I think it goes to 2019, and they're in their 30s, pushing 40. So a long span of time where she kind of has both these guys wrapped around her fingers. One was her boyfriend when they were younger. They break up and she winds up marrying the other. She is a tennis prodigy who has a devastating career-ending injury. She evolves into coaching, and so she and her husband are like this power tennis couple. He still plays. She's his coach. And, they have all the star power. And anyway, he's kind of down on his luck, not having a whole lot of success. And so she decides to enter him into this preliminary competition that leads its way up to the U.S. Open, if I understand. And they do a good job of kind of explaining how all that works in the movie. But little does she know, or maybe she does know, that the ex-boyfriend is also in the competition. And of course, they have to play each other. And that's where the movie starts, is them having this match. And then the story is told through flashbacks. I will say all the flashbacks are so confusing. I really, other than their hairstyles, I really had trouble keeping up with where I was. But the other thing that was really weird about it is every time they would start a conversation, this really loud, like, club disco music would start, and it was too loud. I couldn't quite hear what the actors were saying. I thought that was a weird choice. But the last 10 minutes of the movie are pretty good. I will say that.
If you can make it to the very end, then the last 10 minutes is worth it.
But, I don't know who this movie is for. Really, I would be embarrassed to go see it on a date. Girls' night, maybe. People you feel comfortable seeing. There's all kinds of make-out sessions. And then there is
make out. It's like she's saying make out, but they make out on CBS and ABC. We're talking about like Netflix on drugs here.
Yeah. And then also there's male nudity, which you don't always see that. So
It would be a shock. And I think it's fair that you warn folks, because if you do choose, now you just know, like, if this is something you wanted to go see, you have been warned.
Yes.
That is going to be in there.
And I will say, one of the loves of her life in this movie is played by the same guy that plays the younger Prince Charles in The Crown.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So all the Crown actors seem to have a movie out right now. But yeah, so that's going to be a big one this weekend, I think. Just because Zendaya herself has such a following, I think a lot of people will go see it. Although I don't know what the rules are now about going to see rated R movies for teenagers. Like, can they go without an adult?
I think if you're 8, Rhino's shaking his head.
17 and up.
17 and up. You have to be 17 and up to be able to go.
But you can go if you're under 17 with a parent or guardian.
But
it's NC-17 that you have to be 17 to go see it.
So this one should be. And if you do not take your children, do not go with your children to see this movie.
No, you will regret it.
That would be, from what you told me, horrible. As a 16-year-old girl, to see that with my parents would be devastating.
Yeah, but I still love Zendaya. Now, I will say I've always seen her more friendly movies, except I've never seen Euphoria, which I'm sure has a lot of that kind of stuff in it. But this one was definitely showing her, more adult than what we're used to seeing.
Is there anything else to choose from?
That's really it as far as new releases. Of course, we've already mentioned Godzilla and Kong still out there. Civil War still out there. And then the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is still out there. If you want to go see something with the family, it's still really, you've still got Ghostbusters, Kung Fu Panda, and then Dune Part 2 is still hanging out there. It's going to be released on DVD, streaming, all of that in a couple of more weeks. So
who will get the streaming rights to Dune?
I'm not sure.
See. What did I watch? Because we both went back and watched the first one.
I believe isn't it on Netflix
or Prime? I can't remember.
So streaming will probably be, I'm guessing, one of the Max or something like that, but I'm not sure. Usually it's a longer wait for Netflix.
Which you can understand why, and then just having the opportunity to sort of stream it. I wonder if they'll make you pay for it the first little while.
Yeah, I bet you they will. So just because it's big and it's still pretty new, but I do encourage you to go to the big screen. You still have time, and I'm sure it'll still be out there even after it starts streaming.
Someone said, I think Dune 1 started on HBO Max.
Yeah, Dune 2 will go to Max first, and then after that, it'll go to the other streaming services.
So they're going to get their cash first.
Yeah, they've got it figured out.
They've got it, yeah. They're not losing nothing on purpose, I can promise you.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I can promise you that. Anything else streaming or new?
Yeah, well, Argyle's streaming now, so tell Will, because that's his favorite movie. But if you missed that one in theaters, you can check it out. And then there's this is a documentary, which we don't always talk about those, but there's a new documentary that's out right now about Bon Jovi. So I think that's going to be my weekend appointment, is to watch that.
I think there's one, I don't know if it's new, but on Martha Stewart. It's a 3-part series maybe. Is it on HBO? It's on one of them. One I don't pay for. And I had a friend, though, tell me, though, it's fascinating that it's set up similar to the Arnold one that's on Netflix, where it goes through their different phases of life, where his is athlete, actor, and then politics. And I think hers is sort of set up however, the beginning you have jail, and then you have after Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
But said that if you're interested into just behind the scenes of her world, that it's,
yes.
I would be, but I'm not going to subscribe to another streaming service just for something like that. Jeff in Pontotoc said, I'm looking forward to Despicable Me 4.
Yes, that one's coming pretty soon. I want to say it is either May or June. Or it may be around the 4th of July, but it's in the next few months. And then next weekend is The Fall Guy, which will be the first thing we've seen Ryan Gosling in since all the Barbie craze.
Do you think that helps or hurts?
I think it helps.
People get there.
I think people want more of him because of, all of the hype around his, portrayal of Ken. So I really feel like it's going to be a draw. And he and Emily Blunt have proven they've got great chemistry, just by their appearance together on the Oscars. So I think people are really excited about it.
But then if he doesn't act like Ken, is that weird? Because you think he's Ken? Does you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what? I think he is a little bit of Ken, really. So I think we're going to see a little bit of Ken in this one. Just the clips I've seen.
Yeah, I get that. I
Yeah.
get that. All right. Thank you for your time, Tanya. You guys stick with us. We got a little bit more for you up next.